Hello folks, Steven here. I just wanted to go over a stove that I've been using probably for about 6 months or so. I picked it up for about $12 to $15. You can get it from several different places. One of the better places to get it is a place called Deal Extreme, which is dx.com, and they have it for about $17 or $18 with free shipping. This model does not come with an igniter. Some of them do, and they're just a tad bit heavier. This one weighs about just over 8.5 ounces, and it's a very simple stove. I take it apart to make it a little bit easier to handle. It also allows me to put this a bit more compactly into several different cook sets, some very small cook sets, because the largest piece now becomes the burner itself. So it's really simple to pack away. As I mentioned, this is a isobutane stove. As you can see, it's kind of crusty here as I've been using it quite a bit here. But it's a remote canister stove, which means the isobutane canister attaches here. And you have yourself about 11 or 12 inches of cable here, which allows you to remotely place the canister somewhere, which is a bit safer. It also allows you to put larger pots on the burner itself, which I'll show you here in just a second. So what we're going to do is going to go ahead and assemble this. And I do a little bit more of a disassembly than most people do, just for packing reasons. As I mentioned, I take the legs out, which very simply you just slide into here, and you just match up the bottom burner to one of the little indents, and you're good with the leg. You just do this 3 times. Goes in real simple. Get a hold of it, lift it up, boop, goes right into place. So there's a couple ways you can put this away, pack it up that is, and I disassemble it by taking the legs off because it makes it a little bit easier. But as you can see, it goes together very, very simply. What you can do to pack it away also is just as simply, this is spring loaded on the bottom of the burner, this catch little pan here, and it serves a couple of purposes. One, of course, is to catch any spillover, but also to lock the legs into place somewhat. I mean, there's still a tad bit movement here, but they're very stable. I've had a 4-quart pan on here with no problem at all, and it's worked very, very well. So the second way of, instead of taking the legs off, all you have to do is simply just push up a little bit on the burner bottom and just swing these around. Just lift them up just a tad, and they're indented here at the bottom, and just swing it around, and you can make a very small package here just like this and wrap it up and put it away. Now it comes inside of a stuff sack, which I do use. I put it, like I said, I stuff this away inside a couple of my cook sets, and I don't want it scratching the inside of the cook sets. So all I do is just drop it in here and drop it inside the cook sets. So this basically is a simple little isobutane stove, and you have a couple of options for using this stove as far as fuel is concerned. As I mentioned, it uses the standard isobutane cartridges. Now this is one that I've refilled, and I'll go over that in another video, but there's a website called Adventures of Stoving, and they have some very nice information on refilling these. They even go over the attachment that you need and how to do it. It's a very simple process, and I refill all of my canisters. I also refill my 1-pound bulk propane canisters, so it saves me quite a bit of money in the long run. I get these from campgrounds. In fact, I went to a national park last weekend, and I got 4 of these sitting by a dumpster. They looked brand new, so they apparently just been bought and used. So I'll take them home, and I'll note dates on them like I do with this one here as I refill them. This one's still the original. I just took the label off of it. So what I do when I refill them, I simply write butane only. Not it's that big a deal. It's me, the only person using it, in case I lend it to somebody. This way they don't take it in very cold weather. But I write the date on the bottom of it, how much I put into it, and this way I can keep track of it. Usually I get 2 or 3 refills out of each one without any type of problem at all. On the 4th one, I usually recycle them because I figure the valve is probably on its last leg there somewhere, but I've never had one pop open to the point of discharging or remaining open to discharge all of the contents. But these are simple little canisters you can buy at a lot of stores. They run anywhere from about $3 to $5 depending upon where you get them and what size they are. This is one of the larger ones, diameter wise. They also make considerably taller ones, and they also make some rather short and stout ones as well for smaller cook sets. I'll have one of those and I'll show you that in just a bit as well. But this is a simple little stove. And all you have to do to use it, you simply just attach the canister onto the remote cable. This is what's called a Lindell valve, and it just simply screws on. And pretty much that's it. And it's ready to use. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make a cup of tea. I'm going to go ahead and get my water out, and I'll show you guys how to light this in just one quick minute. This is the cook set that I generally carry for day hikes, and if it's a quick overnighter where I'm only making 1 or 2 meals, where I'm just heating water to rehydrate some food, this is without a doubt one of the simplest little cook sets I've found. This is made by Esbit, and I'm going to use the pot for heating the water on the stove, which is why I'm going to go through this real quick. This is what's called the Ti-750 made by Esbit. It comes with a nice little stuff sack. It has a couple little spots here, a couple little pockets for you to put your utensils in, and it's really designed for the Esbit utensils. Most of the polypropylene ones I have are a bit too long, but the Esbit ones fit in there just fine. It's a nice little pouch. It's not coated. Some of the ones you find now for cook sets have a little bit of a vinyl coating on them, which allows you to use the container also as a scoop for water for filtering, which is kind of handy. So you get a double use out of the thing. So, but this one has a nice little mesh bag on it. This is one of the smaller canisters. As you can see, it's considerably smaller, but this is very, very nice for using it for quick day hikes and even a quick overnighter. I've made a little cozy for my cook set. What I'm going to do is just pop this off. So this is the outside of the Esbit. Like I said, it's a Ti-750, and it's got a bit of use on it here. Put it in the fires, use it on many camp stove. And it's a nice size. It's great for doing any type of overnighter, for basic heating of water, coffee, for rehydrating meals and stuff like that. And it's very, very light. You can find these on most of the auction sites for about $40, and because it is titanium, it's going to cost you a few bucks. But the handles, it's very well made, tacked and welded. Nice. The handles don't move real easily, so you don't have to chase them around when you're trying to get them together to lift the pot off, which is kind of nice. They stay put where you put them, but they're not hard enough that you have a difficulty sliding it out to put it away. So this works out very well, and I'm very, very happy with it. The only modification I did to it is on the lid. The lid does have drain holes on it, but all I did was I put a zipper pull on the end, on the top of the lid, on the tab. And what this allows me to do is, in the winter, I do most of my camping from fall to spring. What this allows me to do is, if you have gloves on, you can easily lift this up, and you can handle the lid a lot easier. In the summertime, of course, you can grab it because you're not going to be having gloves on, but this makes it very, very handy for you to operate. So we're going to use that in a minute. So this kit, like I said, makes my basic simple day hikes, and inside of the handkerchief is the stove that I carry, which I'm going to do another one. This is also a titanium stove. This is what's called a FireMaple, and it's one of the Ti Series, which I'll do a separate video on. I've been using this one for about 3 months on multiple day hikes, and it has just been a fantastic, simple, easy to use little stove, and it weighs just a few grams. So there's really nothing to it. All I do is wrap it up inside my handkerchief, which we know has multiple uses. And this, of course, just keeps it together, keeps it from scratching the inside of the pot. And all I do is I simply dunk it inside the pot. I can do it one of 2 ways. I dunk it inside the pot, put my fuel on top, the lid, inside the cozy, and then inside the stuff sack. And I have a very nice, simple little compact cook set. So let's go ahead and get some water here, and we'll go ahead and fire up the stove and see how simple this operation is. Okay, so I've got my Ti-750. I got about half full of water. It's about 82 degrees out. The water's probably just a little bit colder, as I got it out of a spigot down here. So to light the stove, you do it just like any other isobutane stove. There's no wind here whatsoever, so I'm not going to put a windscreen around it. I have several different ones that I could use. Because this is a remote canister stove, you can feel very safe putting a fully enclosed windscreen around this stove without any risk at all to the canister getting overheated. So to use it, all we do is we simply just turn the valve and it's on. It's just that simple. Now I'm going to move the camera around a bit here so you can see a really nice view of that flame. But that is a very simple, nice, easy little stove that gives you a very good simmer. So all we're going to do is stick it on top. This is almost, like I said, a little bit big for one person, but if you're doing the doubles, this is fantastic. So one person carries the stove, another person carries the fuel, and you have a very nice simple little cook set. Now this also works great for doing it at home. I'm going to show you a couple of different things that I use for this canister here. Stove, well, this is, I turn it up just a tad. Now I carry a Bic lighter in all my backpacks. Your bug out bags, everything, all of them should have Bic lighters. These are a fantastic safety device, as they rarely ever fail. Simple old butane. Now I've run into a problem a couple of times where the valve has been pressed. I go to use the lighter and of course it's empty. So I already took it off of this one, but what I do is I put a little wire tie, a zip tie around here, and I cinch it down a little bit, just enough so it's inside of this little latch here, which prevents it from being pushed down. And then when I go to use it, I simply just slide it down, light it, and after I'm done with it, I simply slide it back up. Actually, I lost the one for this one. I used it last weekend, and I'm not exactly sure what happened to it. So it makes a really good safety little catch for the lighter, so when you go to use it, you have some fuel. What I'm using now is strictly butane. There is no propane inside this canister. Usually the propane canisters, the canisters with propane are usually about an 80-20, 70-30 mix. This is one that I refilled. It was completely empty, and I used a device, which is this little thing here. And what this is designed to do is to refill these isobutane canisters. There's a couple steps that you have to do before you even start using the valve system. You need to start noting the full weights on these. You need to understand that there is a slight inherent risk of anything when you refill it, because they're really not designed to be refilled. But I've refilled quite a few of these and haven't had any problem whatsoever. What this valve is designed to do, as you can see, it has the lindle opposite on the top here. It's got the male, this has got the female. So all you're going to do is you're going to screw this on the top, and then you're going to use these bulk butane cartridges. These are 100% butane. There is no propane in these, because actually, as you can feel them, they're very, very flimsy cartridges, because it's all butane. There is really no high pressure risk because there's no propane in it. So all you're going to do is you're going to hook this up onto here, upside down, and all you're going to do is open up the valve, and you're going to force the fuel from here into the canister. You got to follow the directions, because one of the cans, the directions I got with this thing, they're in Japanese, but he tells you here, basically what you're looking at here is the canisters here, gives you slight directions on which way it must be. It has to be tilted just a little bit to ensure all the fluid goes inside the canister. This way they don't work that well. It's also telling you that the sending canister must be about 30 to 38 degrees Celsius, which is about 80 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. The receiving canister is best when it's been chilled. So you put this in the refrigerator or freezer is even best, and it assists the transfer of the fuel much, much faster. I did several of these cans, and each can, this size canister here, and I did them, and it took maybe about 2.5 minutes to top them off to the max. So follow the instructions that are on the Adventures in Stoving website. This little valve runs about $30, so you have to use a few of these in order to warrant or to justify the cost for the valve. But I do so much day hiking that this saves me a considerable amount of money. You think that this this cartridge runs about $4 or so if you get it from one of the big stores. Even if you order in bulk, there's still a few bucks a piece. When you can get this canister, which is 8 ounces, a full 8 ounces, this canister right here is 4 ounces, and it runs, like I said, about $4. This is 8 ounces and runs about $1. So you can pick these up at many dollar stores. You can pick them up at your Asian markets, and they're really, really simple and easy to use. Now there's several adapters you can use to convert this directly to that kind of canister right there. To this kind of stove, but I haven't had the best results with them. I'm going to do a little bit of a review on those. I have 2 or 3 of them, and they just don't seem, this valve connection here doesn't seem to do very well for the stoves. So I've just come to just going ahead and putting it inside the isobutane cans. They're a bit heavier duty, and of course, like I said, you can get them in considerably smaller sizes for packing for a day or two. So this is kind of big to be schlepping around, but money-wise, it saves you a considerable amount of money. Well, it's been a couple minutes, and whoa, it's boiling. So we're good. So we're going to cut this off. And I am going to grab, it's a little bit warm. Another use of our handkerchief. We'll lift this off. We're going to dunk in some Earl Grey. Actually, I think I might grab another one of those and do a double. These are some of the simplest ways to carry tea around. You can dunk these out, drop these outside bags and put several of these in a Ziploc if you're going to be using them soon. But you get these from some of the big box stores, and they have just simple old generic Earl Grey tea, and they work perfect. This is also the way that I use, that I make coffee on the trail or camping. Is they have coffee bags just like these, and they're made by some of the major coffee companies, but also a couple of the small stores. The larger grocery stores have their own brand of them, and they're fantastic. You get about 19 bags for, I think it's about $6. It's a bit expensive, but you just can't beat the convenience. So while that's steeping, I'm one of those people that I can't live without creamer. So I buy these little packs, little creamer things, and I take one or two of them and dump them in my coffee and my tea. I'm a bit of a wuss about that, but I really enjoy the creamer inside my drinks. So there's another option, like I was going to mention here, that you can use for fuel for this. Now, this is a little chilly, but we're going to take this off. And this is another device that I wanted to mention, and I'm going to do a separate review on it, but this just works like a top. This is that 1 pound propane tank that I was mentioning earlier. This is of course strictly propane. There is no butane in this. Now remember, this is a propane butane mix, and I'm not sure what MSR uses. I think it's, well, this is strictly butane now, but when it was new, I think it was 80-20, and the bulk of it, of course, is butane. So this is a neat little device. This is called the Kavia LP gas adapter. What this allows you to do is to screw this on these 1 pound tanks, which of course, if I didn't mention, are fully refillable as well. I got 3 or 4 of these just 2 days ago at a campsite I was at, and they had put them by the dumpster to be recycled, but they look new, and I grabbed them, and now I'm going to take them home and refill them here maybe this weekend or next weekend. But this adapter runs about $30 on the internet, and it's comes in a package like this. Yes, I have 2 of them. One of them is just perfect for a bug out bag in my eyes. Its uses are near endless. But what this allows you to do is you can screw this on the propane tank side like this, and it provides you a Lindell valve. So any of these isobutane stoves, whether it be the remote canister stove like this or the maple fire stove, any one of these can then fit right on top, and you can cook all day long. So this allows you to use just one simple isobutane stove with a couple of different fuel sources. So this is big and heavy. Backpacking would be a bit of a problem, no doubt. But if you're heading to a campsite, and you're heading on a camping trip, and your first night is inside the car at a campground, and you can be cooking at your car, why not use this fuel instead of your expensive isobutane? And this works perfect. I'll go ahead and put both of these on here, and I'll fire this thing up, and I'll give you an idea of how it looks. So simply just screw it on, just like you would an isobutane cartridge. And it's ready to go. It's just that simple. Now you operate it just like you would as if you hooked any other isobutane cartridge up. Now keep in mind that these stoves are designed to run fully on isobutane, so you're not using it as it is designed, so any risk, of course, you use it is up to you. But I've used this on several different stoves. These smaller stoves, multiple smaller stoves, including Brunton stoves. I've used it on several other high name stoves and some of these generic ones you get for about $8, and I've had no problems with it whatsoever. So all we do is we're going to turn it on, and I'll show you what this one looks like. Whoa. And that's it. I don't know if you can see the flames there. That thing moves. Now the only real drawback to this is the canister. It's a big sucker. But you have to consider some of the uses of this thing. Propane works perfect. I mean, it just outstandingly works well in cold weather. So if there's a bunch of you guys going camping, maybe you could switch this with 2 or 3 people, but you have yourself a lot of fuel, and fuel that will work in just about the coldest weather that you will ever face. So, and of course they're refillable, so it runs you about 50 cents, 75 cents a piece, as opposed to the $2 and $3 that you're going to pay inside the store. But like I said, the valve is about $3. But it's perfect in cold weather. I take this when I do all my primitive camping inside of cabins during the winter, because I can hook this thing up, and you know, most hiking is only about 2 miles to 3 miles to get to the cabins. So this is just a fantastic fuel source for these stoves. I can hook it up, I can use it for days on end and not worry about losing any sleep about whether I'm going to run out of fuel or have to take multiple canisters with me. And of course, like I said, this works in the coldest weather, and it's just great. Now, as I mentioned before, this stove you can pick up on dx.com. It's going to run you about $15 to $17. They have free shipping. It's about 3,500 watts. This model does not have an igniter on it. To me, that's no big deal whatsoever. In fact, very few of my stoves have igniters on them. Just a little bit extra weight to carry, you know, and they're probably going to die eventually. Just end up cutting them off anyway. But there is a $2 or $3 difference if you want to get one of the ones with the igniter on it to save yourself a little bit of hassle for a little brief period of time. It's like I said, it's about 8.5 ounces, and it works, as I mentioned, really well. Excels a little bit better for larger pots. I don't have a windscreen set up just so you can see this, but there's going to be a separate review on this little cook set that I've got here, which also came from dx.com, and it's been one of my favorite cook sets when there's 2 or 3 of us going camping. So this works perfect for the larger pots. Like I said, I've had an 8-quarter on here, 8-quart pot. It's been heavy and it just works fantastic. So you've actually got 4 supports. You got the base here at the knurled aluminum, and of course the 3 legs. It basically holds a considerable amount of weight, and there's no problem with it whatsoever as far as stability goes. Now in a place where you're going to have snow and stuff like that, yep, you're going to want to put maybe one of those real thin roll out cutting boards that you can get. IKEA has them. They're about $3 for a set, and multiple sizes. You can cut them down to fit this, and it works fantastic. It doesn't transfer any of the heat either direction. It insulates it a little bit. Nice wide base, so none of the legs are going to fall through, and it works really well for uneven surfaces. So to take this thing apart, as I mentioned earlier, just to get it away, you can do a couple of different things. I simply take all the legs out because it's just a little bit easier for me to put away. Just lift them up and they pop right out. This thing isn't going anywhere. It's in with a spring between the plate itself and the burner. Just lift it up a little bit and it's going to pop right out. So all I do is I simply just wrap the fuel hose around like this. I drop it inside of the bag, which is here. And this makes a very small compact package and allows you to put it inside any number of cook sets. And as I mentioned, this is really, for one person, this is probably a bit overkill. A simple small burner stove like this is going to work just fine, and it would probably be the easiest thing to do. But for a couple of people, or if you're going to be in a place for several days, it's got its place without a doubt. And when you fold it up this small, it easily fits inside just about any cook set easily. And this gives you a lot of space now to put your cooking utensils inside of here and any type of condiments that you want. It makes a compact little cook set. So all you do is just close it up. This cook set, by the way, comes with a nice little frying pan, and it also comes with a bunch of other little utensils. I'm going to do a separate review on this cook set here. A couple of cups. These are polypropylene, along with a what they call a rice spoon, and you get a small ladle also for doing any kind of soup or whatever else you happen to muster up in the field there. So, but it's simple. I don't carry these with me because I have other ones that I use on a regular basis. So I simply put the stove inside of the Cookset. So it makes a nice, simple, compact little package. Just hold it up like this, sit it down, and you're ready to hit the trail. It's just that simple. Well, I'm going to enjoy my tea. Happy trails and stay safe on the trail.